like to look at how the house lays on the property. You've got some gutters. The gutters look like they're in pretty good repair, and that's really important too. The thing that we have to focus on is moisture, moisture, moisture. Insects love moisture. And if we can eliminate moisture from around our homes, we're actually non-chemically eliminating those insects and pests from around our home. So as I approach the house, I try to look at the way it lays on the overall subdivision. This is on a hill. I like this. This is a positive thing. I'll look at this downspout sitting here, and I, of course, see a downspout that has a bunch of rocks holding this thing around. This is bad, and the reason why this is bad is the water's coming off here, hitting the rocks, splashing around, and that's why there's a depression here. And see, that depression is a concentration of moisture. Now, add that along with all this decomposing matter, these wood chips. So
nice.
These are rib tips for termites. Don't use these around your house. Now, there are a lot of alternatives. Rock is one of the greatest alternatives because rock actually heats up when the ultraviolets hit it, and they disperse heat. Insects do not like heat, and that heat also dries the perimeter around your foundation, which also aids in, of course, moisture control in the basement. Moisture, moisture, remember that. The other thing I look for is I look for the foliage that's around the house. Your plants and vegetation. Is it trimmed back? I like this. I like what I see. I have a couple feet between those plants and my foundation wall. That again allows air to get through here to dry the moisture and also for sunlight to come through here. It also prevents animals from nesting right next to this, such as raccoons, skunks, possums, and the like. Now the other thing I look at as I approach this is I'm looking up. And when I look up in here, I'm seeing we've got a mold issue going on under here. We've got some wood rot going on. And again, this is things that obviously termites, wood-destroying insects like powder post beetles and carpenter ants will favor. I mean, this is rot. This is a wood-destroying organism on here. It's known as rot. Mm-hmm. This needs to be replaced, wrapped with aluminum and or painted. And you can see they've done some repair here, just not enough. So the other things I look for are staining. Staining on siding. Right now I don't see any staining up here, which is a good thing. But what I do see is this downspout. You see the stain on that downspout? Mm-hmm. That means that this is either clogged and or failing, but either way it's failing. So that tells me that water is not even coming down this downspout. It's pouring here. And if that water pours down at those two joints, it's getting in behind this, which is very bad. And it's also then settling here next to the foundation wall.
So not only do we have to be concerned with the moisture from the foundation and basement perspective, from a pest control perspective, the moisture is critical as well.
Critical, critical. It's all about that moisture. Again, giving those insects a viable area in which to live. The other thing I don't like about this is we don't have a splash block underneath this.
Okay.
That means all the water is coming down here right next to this foundation. Look at the depression that it's caused. You can see how this is depressed.
And it runs all along the length of this foundation wall.
Yeah, you can actually see it staining for that moisture up along that foundation. Why is that important to me? Termites. Termites love slabs. Termites start around these slab areas and they will nest under these slab areas because of the moisture that is held under the slab.
Okay.
So we don't want to give them an ideal living environment, such as a slab, which stays cool and holds moisture in. I'm again looking for moisture, so I have mold on this siding, mold all over the siding, but also this is actually fungus, peat, growing on the floor here. So that's a hot spot for me. Another thing that I see here, not only through the mud, but I also see pieces of wood timber that are laying here. This is not good because this is actually what termites were meant to do, is to help in the decomposition of wood as it falls from the tree. Now, if you look at this etching here, I'm going to just kind of pull this off. Okay, now that was created by powder post beetle. That is a wood-destroying organism that can attack your wood members in the house. That's been etched out by them.
Are they subterranean as well?
No, they're not actually. They will appear anywhere, in attics, floor joists, sill plates, band boards. So let's see if I can snap this in half. Okay. And again, you're not finding anything else other than traces of obviously erosion from rots and also then from lesser wood destroying organisms. Okay?
Okay.
So we want to keep wood and any other cellulose debris away from the foundation wall because it's an attractive nuisance, just like the rib tips or up front, that wood mulch. Keep that away from the foundation.
So when people stack their firewood next to the house, that's a no-no.
Big no-no. Big no-no. The other thing again, here we go again, unprotected. This also tells me that we may have situations going on up in the attic.
Okay.
If you can zoom in on this, let me show you this. See this granular?
Mm-hmm.
This is your shingle. This is the actual granule from the shingle. You'll notice it's the same color as that shingle.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me, of course, that we have some roof wear going on up there, and that's going to be an area that I want to really focus my attention on as well, because if there's a worn roof, there's probably moisture going on in that attic. This obviously looks like some sort of dispensing line. Generally, these are found outside of foundation, coming out of the foundation, because they're coming from the sump that's installed in a basement. So what may be happening here, and we're not inside yet, and we'll look at that in a little bit when we go into the basement, but that sump might actually be draining right back off next to the foundation. That water drain goes then back up underneath the foundation, back into the sump, and it's that vicious cycle.
So you never empty underneath the house.
You're never emptying it away from the house. It's emptying into itself.
Okay.
And again, with this downspout like this downspout should be dispersed away from the house as well. Termites typically will gather around areas of high moisture concentration, such as this one. You can see some mounding here. This mounding has occurred from ants. You'll see this.
Okay.
And if we break this open, we're actually going to find the opening to an ant gallery. So termites and ants are fierce enemies of one another, and ants like to build their homes close to the grocery store as do termites. It just so happens that since termites are primarily protein, ants are building their home right next to the grocery store, and termites are on the menu. Typically, termites are going to travel downgrade. They're going to feed on the roots of those trees.
Okay.
And any other cellulose type material we might have out here, such as pieces of wood, debris, wood mulch, things like that. Ways that they get into the house, and not only into the slabs and foundations, they will also tunnel up over the top of this foundation and go in after the sill plate that lies beneath or that your house actually sits on. And they'll find cracks and crevices like this. Because we know what happens whenever there's a crack or crevice and it rains, that water is now diverted into the house. And they're going to follow that moisture right on up inside here and go after that nice healthy sill plate.